Well, hello, everybody. Larry Young here again with another segment of OLaMan Living Life with Purity. And I've got Alex back in the studio with me again. We're all refreshed. And we want to continue on from our last discussion there about Cardinal Bertone and the evil that may be present, have invaded certain personalities at the Vatican and in our church and in our government and all like this. So no one's immune from these things. But one of the things that we wanted to talk about in this segment now is about the Antichrist, because the one element in the last segment there, and you can go back and refresh it if you're new to the program, the last segment, Alex read a little bit from the alleged last will and testament of Benedict XVI when he talked about his interaction with Pope Francis, or Bergoglio as he called him, and his behavior and the words that he used and his demeanor at that time. And that to me seemed quite evil in the pall that was over the words and the descriptive behavior of Pope Francis at that time. So Alex is going to go a little bit more into the Antichrist, and I'll weigh in on some of my perceptions and my thoughts about it as well, as to whether the Antichrist is yet to come, or, as I think, maybe the Antichrist has already been here, and we were just too busy to notice it. Now we're dealing with what the seeds that the Antichrist left in our society, and that's why there may be so many people that you may want to target as being the Antichrist, but I think what they're all doing is they're all portraying evil and trying to promote evil under the guise of being good. But this is how it is. When the devil wraps his arm around you, you never know that he's the devil. You think he's your friend.
So I think at this point, instead of saying we want to identify the Antichrist as a person, I believe that the damage will have already been done before we even, if he decides to manifest himself as a human being to the world, the damage will already have been done. So we're going to look at the fruits, hopefully some of the fruits of the evil. We're going to unmask the subtleness of evil. We're going to take a look at the doctors of the church, the Greek doctors, the Roman doctors, and several cardinals have commented on this as food for thought. But I would like to read this poem, if I could, first. When I was 18 years old, I lost my mother to cancer. Larry still has his mom. She's, how old is Rita?
St. Rita is 98 years old.
98 years old.
Going on 99 in January.
God bless her. And let me read this, if I could, to you. And when your mother has grown older, and you have grown older, and what was formerly easy and effortless now becomes a burden, when her dear loyal eyes do not look out into life as before, when her legs have grown tired and do not want to carry her anymore, then give her your arm for support and accompany her with gladness and joy. The hour will come when, weeping, you will accompany her on her last journey. And if she asks you, answer her. If she asks you again, speak also. And if she asks another time, speak to her again. Not stormily, but in a gentle peace. And if she cannot understand you well, explain everything joyfully. And the hour will come, the bitter hour, when her mouth will ask no more. And it affected me when my mother died at 18, and that was sort of the beginning of beginning to lose my faith. But the author of this beautiful poem is Adolf Hitler.
Well, that's a kicker.
Well, we want to think that evil doesn't have the capacity to love.
No, this is true. Or people that, but he didn't really think he was doing evil.
No,
and this is part of the problem with the words and the definitions. Many times is because everyone thinks that their definition or their portrayal is the only one that can be admitted.
Right.
But this is counterintuitive. That just shocked the crap out of me. But you know, the guy had an artist's vein.
Yeah.
You know, and this is part of it. But he was trying to create. He had a bad set of practices, but these were things that were going on in society, in his society at that time, there was this anger against the Jews.
Yes. Oh, he saw it as a social parasite that was.
Well, it was a way to target everyone's emotions against the one that nobody liked.
And he believed it. He didn't.
Well,
This wasn't some kind of a let's just get the political thing
but
going.
there were a lot of people that believed it, and that's why it was so easy to, move that mountain, if you will. Look at what we got going on here.
Yeah.
I mean, this is our problem with our mortality. We don't live long enough to learn and to put it into practice. We get old and get to be the olden dudes and stuff like that, and then you try to tell the younger people, and they say, sit down and shut up. We know what we're doing. You're old. That didn't work. Well, we never really tried, these things. And so, but this is kind of how the rebellion goes, every cultural existence. The fathers raise their sons, the sons rebel against the fathers.
It's a cycle, constant.
Right, it's the human emotion, and this is the drive that goes on. What we need to do is have somebody that can live through that and understand, and then get this love and this portrayal back for our older people, and this to have basically a love and a consideration for respect for our elders. It's like what was that? Chesterton's fence. Are you familiar with that? And
No.
the order of decision making. Chesterton's fence is an old idiom of trying to make decisions. And one of the things is Chesterton's fence was this fence that was allegedly put up by older people, older civilization. And Chesterton comes along and wants to tear this fence down. And the people around him say, I wouldn't do that. He says, well, what could go wrong? Well, he tore it down, and I think then animals came in and started eating all his crops. And the fence had been put up to stop the animals from breaking into the crop areas, but he took it down, and then all of a sudden he lost all his crops, and he found out that the fence was there for good reason. So this is something we need to think about before we go in as a culture or as a society or even as an individual. Before you go and start tearing stuff out for the sake of tearing it out, find out why it was there in the first place. First rule of demolition. Make sure you know where your supports are and why they're there, and what will happen if you take that out. Is that a load-bearing wall or a non-load-bearing
That's
wall?
right.
These are types of things. So, but it goes all throughout our age, and this is part of the dilemma that goes on with the old versus the young, and then trying to be organized in those thinking and keep it straight. And the kids want to rebel against the old people finally give up, young people make the mistakes, and then they spend the rest of their life trying to fix it before their kids come along and screw it up again.
I can remember at age 16 thinking I just about experienced everything in life there could be. I mean, with the exception of a couple things.
Yeah, you knew everything.
That's right. I mean, you pretty much thought you processed it all, and how wrong I was, but apparently that's universal. With every 16.
When did you find out you were wrong?
When I got hit by a bus. No. Well, you find out you're wrong. That when you come back to your faith, and you begin to search for the truth, you find out how small you are and how little you know. Especially, I come from the howdy doody generation. I've never experienced to go without a meal, or we always had warmth and kindness in the family. I never experienced a mother that rejected or a father that called names, or and I thought, well, geez, everybody has that, but not everybody has that.
No, a lot of people don't have a father in the home. What the absentee rate of fathers in the homes in Black America is right now? 75%. 75% of the Black homes
have
in
no
America
father.
have no father.
Dear God, no wonder. There's such a deprivation.
Well, it's like 25% in the white, if not higher now, because the divorce rate's so high, and the moms just figure they'd rather go alone than not have the father figure in there, and that's why. But it's also part of what's going on in our food and other things, and our testosterone levels in our men. They're feminizing the men to a really great degree right now.
Is that right? Because
they call them low T men, low testosterone.
Is there like estrogen is in that? Is that
well, there's these vegan diets and stuff like that. They're trying to push everybody to,
right?
Getting away from the animal proteins, and things like that. Those are things that you need to build your body. You might get enough protein out of the beans and other things like that to have happy muscles, but they're not going to be built muscles. They're not going to be strong muscles.
Okay.
They're not going to be.
So,
able to
Larry,
do
are
heavy
these
work.
some of the fruits, the subtleness of evil?
It's definitely this subtle. It's trying to make the male-female balance become blurred. Those lines that, the discussions we're having right now with trans and things like that, this is totally evil.
Okay.
Totally evil. It's totally messed up. You watch some of these programs, you tell people, 20 individuals say, define what a woman is. And
Yeah, it's kind of funny. They kind of stumble on.
they have no idea. They're giving you some sort of textbook answer about how somebody feels and all like that. I don't care about that. What's your genes say? And how are you? Not necessarily how you're living, but how did God make you? Let's not deny that. If you got a problem,
So the
then
very
we'll deal with
basics
that.
are being confusion.
Yeah,
being
and
brought
why
into
are we having like so many kids now saying, "Well, I'm trans," and like that? It just became the popular thing to do, like becoming a Beatles fan back in the 1960s. You may not like the Beatles, but everyone else liked them, so you liked them too. And
I liked them. I never bought I bought one record. I think one.
you didn't have to buy a record; it was on the radio all the time.
All the time, yeah. So what I buy? I think of one. I forget the name of the song, but yeah, we knew about the Beatles.
Helter Skelter, probably.
Helter. Evil, the subtleness of evil. Well, when we look at the Antichrist, there's three particular areas that have been designated that will be under the control or great influence of the man of evil. Now, Antichrist, the Antichrist with a big A, but there's also little a's, Antichrists that have come before the big kahuna, theoretically. But one of the areas that the Antichrist will control is the politics. He'll be a political leader. The next area is economics. He will have great influence on economics. And then the third thing, he'll have an alternative or a great influence on religion. Now, they're saying that he's going to develop a religion of his own, so that would mean that he's going to have to somehow take down competing religions, especially the ones of Christianity. But then he means all of them, But the key for the Antichrist is to seduce people to this new world that he is apparently having a great impact. They all say the Antichrist will have answers to very difficult problems. He will come here aping Christ, but at the same time he'll be declaring himself God at some point, and he's got to take Christ and cross him off the list of competition. But
so what is Christ going to become? Just an idea and a concept that was in the past that we didn't get it right? I mean, how are they going to explain this? You don't know.
He's going to try to assert himself as God, and I'm not sure how the people are going to respond to him. But the seduction. This is why they're doing this thing, like in Israel, and I see them say, well, it was the three parts of the world where Judaism, Christianity, and Muslim all right. Mm-hmm. Well, Judaism is the basis for Christianity,
like in Jerusalem area there, where they got
But the fact that the Muslims plopped
the city's divided.
A mosque in 600 doesn't make them part of just because they believe in one God. The one God you got to believe in is the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. The Holy.
Yeah, they got a big problem with the Son.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. And I think they got a problem with the Holy Spirit.
Basically, yeah, Allah doesn't really represent.
Because
they like the Blessed Mother and they use her, but of course these are the subtle distortions. Is that truth? You have to present certain things that are user friendly. But at any rate, let me read this here if I can, and we can discuss it. It says there was very little notice in Hitler's emergence in the Munich newspapers, and in the very beginning there was like maybe 100 people that were in the Nazi Party, which meant that they were nothing at the time. And Hitler finally discovered the NSDAP, or the Nazi, National Socialism was his thing. It was German, and the German race was superior, and Germany would rule the world. As on the other hand, communism out of Russia was universal, and that a new world order would emerge, and not necessarily that Russia would rule the world, but whatever international cooperation or whatever they got. So this is before the Nazi Party was anything. There was little notice in Hitler's emergence in the Munich newspaper, but the meeting meant that the first major step forward for the German Workers' Party. 100 new members were enrolled at Hitler's insistence. A list of members had already been drawn up, and proper membership cards were issued to give the impression of the size. The first card was numbered 501, with the members listed in alphabetical order. Hitler, painter, number 555.
Not 666.
Which I would interpret that as interesting, but you have to add 111 more Antichrist, smaller people. I don't know, it could be Stalin, it could be whoever.
To get from 555 to 666.
Yeah, to get to the 666. So if we were to say that Hitler represented, and certainly would qualify for an Antichrist, he was a Catholic boy, but he exterminated Catholics, Protestants, Christians across the board. I mean, it wasn't just the Jews. It was a lot of different people that were against National Socialism. And so he wasn't a very good, and again, he was I mean, man, this is crazy.
You're showing great compassion here. Right?
Jeez.
Which I think I have to protest. I think it might be a little out of order, but I'll let you have a pass.
That's right. Yeah.
So don't say that shit anymore.
Is this a signpost along the way? Is this telling us to prepare? If we look at the world today, as we did under Hitler, we would say we're in better shape. But are we? Okay. Yeah. I mean, how many innocents have we killed throughout the world in terms of the eliminations of children in the womb of the mother? We've gone far beyond anything Hitler even imagined. I mean, we're barbarians, technological barbarians, sophisticated. And was this in you got judges at the Supreme Court? Hey, do you think that was what the fathers of the Constitution said, that they have a right to destroy the child in the womb of the mother? I mean, let's ask, John Adams. Or let's ask any of the founders or the women that found the United States and its Constitution. Are we in crazy world?
Oh, that's all Betsy Ross could think about while she was stitching that flag.
What?
How was she going to get an abortion?
You're right.
Yeah, I mean, that's all she could think about.
Right. I'm sure you're right.
I'm sure I'm not. but I just think it's kind of funny that they started off the numbering at 501, to give.
It was a false number.
That they had, why didn't they do 5,000? Because they knew, we couldn't get too stupid with this. They'll say, where's the members?
Right.
But I think it's funny how they use this misconception with the numbering and all like that. It's like what the United States did with their SEAL teams. They named it SEAL Team 6 to give the credit for this invasion that happened. They said that was SEAL Team 6. Well, why did they call it SEAL Team 6? Because they wanted to give the Russians the idea that we had 5 other ones before SEAL Team 6.
Is that right?
Right? They wanted to give the impression we had a lot of.
So it was a false number?
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that.
It was total propaganda.
Wow.
Yeah, it was misinformation to try to sway them to think they sent SEAL Team 6 in there, but 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 haven't been conceived yet.
They were at a buffet. There was a buffet. That's crazy. I mean, why would the United States have to fake up?
It's psychological warfare.
Okay.
You make them think you're bigger than you are. Why does a bird fluff its feathers out when it's getting attacked?
Deception.
It makes it look bigger.
Yeah.
You don't want to mess with me. I'm too much to eat. I'm too big for you. So, but I just thought it was funny with the 501, like SEAL Team 6.
Yeah, and then the alphabetical order for Hitler to come up in that line of 555. Is it a signpost as to things that are to come? The word on the street is that he's to be much more mesmerizing than Hitler could even think of. That his reign of terror, and Torellia says, according to the Angel of America, will mainly be in Jerusalem. That's where the conflict will really begin to manifest itself. And, of course, that makes sense because if he's going to seduce people to a new world religion, he'll be standing on Mount Moriah, if they rebuild the third temple. Again, people will say, oh, well, this is in Israel. This must be very holy. You know what I mean? But it's going to be a battle. I mean, we're up against a battle. Whether he manifests himself or not, the damage has already been done, and that's where the collision course.
Well, the devil wants Israel gone. And so do a lot of people in the world right now. They just think this is an opportunity to go ahead and shut it all down, just, remove it from the map, change all the nameplates and the address signs, turn it all over and just, tell the Jews to go pound sand again.
That's exactly what's happening.
Well, but this is, I still don't understand why everyone wants to pick on the Jews all the time. I've never had anything but, pretty good relationships with the Jewish people, all except for the guy who came into the chapel one day and talked about having a Jew on a stick. But
yeah, do we ever tell that story?
Yeah, about the blind man. I'll tell it again. We got to go into that one because it's always better to tell.
Yeah, let's break away from that for now. Just a good positive. The Jew on the stick.
You want to tell about the Jew? You want to break?
Yeah, really. I think that we need
AntiChrist getting a little heavy for you. Well, this story is about a couple that showed up at the property one day. It might have been a Sunday. I don't know. I was there alone working, and this couple showed up, and the man was obviously blind, and they came up, and she was doing all the talking. And said, what is this place? Could you show us around? And so I did, but it's kind of funny trying to give a blind guy a tour. So I'm being super descriptive about things, trying to make sure he's got it. And he's being pretty...
cantankerous.
Well,
sort of. He
didn't want to be there. He was a little pissed off about the whole situation, I could tell. And I didn't know why exactly. But we were walking down through the building and... finally got into the chapel, and I'm talking about the elements in the windows, the stained glass windows, trying to talk about how beautiful they are and how precious they were. And then I talked about the crucifix that was up on the wall, and he just kind of I go.
You're right. You're right.
I said
I hit a nerve.
I said, you got a Jew on a stick. Yes, I go.
Oh God.
I go. What? And he goes. You need to know we're Jewish. We're not Catholic. We don't believe all that shit. And I said, well, okay, that's fine.
Larry.
I mean, what am I going to do?
Right.
We're going to get into a fight with a blind guy and his wife.
Yeah. Would you like some cake and coffee?
Well, I was kind of along that line more. Hey,
right.
Look, if the tour is upsetting you, I'll tell you more about the property. He finally just blurts out and says, "Where's the water?" I said, you need a drink? I said, we got water all over the place. I said, let me go get you some water. He says, no, where's the water? And then I realized what he was wanting. And I said, I'll go show you the water. I said, hold on, let me go get a couple things. So I stepped into one of the guest rooms there, and I grabbed a couple of the towels that we always kept ready for the restrooms, the showers. So I grabbed a couple of these towels. I said, follow me, and I took them outside, and I walked them down to what we called the Good Friday well. And this was a fountain that had been dry for many, many, many years.
2007, decades. I believe that happened, didn't it?
I think it was like 2007. It was the Good Friday well.
Okay.
And on Good Friday, this well that had been dry for all these years, all of a sudden started shooting water.
We got real excited on that.
Oh, it wasn't a little bit of water. It wasn't bubbling. It was shooting.
Wow.
I mean, it was shooting out a foot more above the spout, which is an awful lot to have, like a big pipe like that, letting all that water.
I thought that was going to be the turning point for it.
Oh, we did too, but a lot of things happen.
Right.
And, but it happened on Good Friday, 2006, 2007. I don't know exactly. I can't remember. But I took the man and I took him by the hands and I showed him where the water was and where the obstructions were, showed him what his area was, because I knew that he was wanting to wash in the water. No words were exchanged, but when he said, "No, where's the water?" I knew somebody sent him here to wash in the water.
He's not here for the Jew on the stick.
He's not here for any of the tour or anything like that. He came to wash in the water. So I showed him where the water was, and his wife was holding the towel, and I said, "There it is." I said, "You can take all the water you like." So he starts washing in the water, flapping the water all. He's like a duck. He's just You know, so, but he's going through this practice here, just soaking himself down really good. And so she finally gives him the towel and to dry himself off with. He puts the towel down, and he just gazes right at her. He says, "Hello, beautiful." And she's just stunned, not knowing if he's lying to her or what.
Yes.
But his sight returned, and he hadn't seen for over 20 years.
Oh, Lord.
Apparently. And so apparently the man had some sort of a tumor that was going on, inoperable, and he had to live his life with this blindness going on, pressing against his optic nerve or something going on. I'm not a doctor. But the man's sight was restored, and he was looking at his wife, and they're both having this moment. And I said, "What brought you here?" She says, "Well, he's been having this dream that he was supposed to come to Rome City and wash in the water."